So, it's that time of the year again. Almost time for the 2013 Eurovision Song Contest. Of course, I am totally psyched, can hardly wait, and I'm finally getting around to reviewing, first in this video, songs in this first semi-final, and then two other videos coming up. The disclaimer first of all, what I'm about to say is totally my own opinion, no professional review of any kind, and if I say or indicate that I don't think your country's entry is very good, or in fact is shit, that doesn't mean that I hate your country or hate your nation or whatever. It just means that that particular song isn't all that good in my opinion. So, first of all, I have to say that I think this year is a big disappointment. Not in terms of the show, which we haven't seen yet, but just in terms of the lineup, which I think is extremely weak. The weakest, almost, that we've had at all since I've been like a die-hard fan, basically. So, yeah, disappointing is the word I want. The good thing is that there are no songs that are, like, totally shitty. Just trashy entries. There are no songs like that this year. But there are also no songs that are, wow, blowing me out of the water. There are no songs that you immediately think, yes, I dig this song. So, it's going to be very hard for me to call it. I don't think I even can call it this year because there are so few entries that even stand out from the crowd. Yeah, I hope the show is going to be good because the songs, I'm sorry, are disappointing. Very weak lineup for 2013. Anyway, the lineup that is that week is going to start with Austria, where it's not a bad song to start with, I guess. Very generic title, but the girl is very pretty who's singing it. She's a pretty good performer. Her voice is beautiful. Well, beautiful. She's beautiful. The voice is good. The melody is very nice. It's not, I don't want to call it catchy, but it's not uncatchy. And I think the instruments are a good choice. There is some instruments that pop up that makes you think, yeah, that's interesting. It sort of catch you unaware a little bit. But still, it is, like most songs this year, it's kind of bland, and it's going to need a striking performance in order to get us to remember it throughout the whole show. Estonia. It's in Estonian. I love when countries sing in their own languages. Yeah, I love using the vernacular. So, Estonian. Yay. Plus points for that. Again, the girl is pretty. Her voice is pretty. She gives a good performance. The song, it has a good melody. It's melodious. Flows along nicely. I hope they will keep this presentation they have, because the song itself is kind of bland, but the presentation is simple and elegant, and I hope, obviously when I say the presentation now, I'm talking about the presentations in the national contests, where the songs were selected, because we haven't seen the real presentations yet. The song is sort of blandish, so I hope they will keep the presentation that they had, or at least keep the simplicity and elegance of it, because I think that counts for a lot with a lot of the audience. Slovenia is actually one of my favorites this year. Their singer's very pretty. She doesn't have, I'm not saying she has a bad voice, but she doesn't have a great voice. It's possible. The song is very catchy. The problems with it may sort of open too jarringly, and people are sort of, they don't get drawn in, so that they give up too soon. I don't know. I like it, but the opening is a little jarring, and I think that the presentation that they had in their national final was kind of tacky, and that should be changed, because otherwise it will detract from the entry as a whole, and the song is good. It's actually kind of one of my favorites this year. I like the Slovenian entry a lot. Croatia. It's an unusual entry. They're singing Croatian, which is good. It has kind of an authentic sound to it, at least for someone who doesn't really know that much or anything at all about Croatian folk music. The melody is very pretty. I like the performance, that it's unusual, because they do a sort of choral style thing. That's unusual, that catches at least my interest, and I hope that's going to be in their favor, that it's not going to be considered too weird. The melody, it's pretty, it's beautiful while you listen to it, but like the other songs so far, it's kind of bland. It's maybe too forgettable, it doesn't really have a hook. So, nothing wrong with it, but not that much to remember it by either. Denmark, again, a pretty girl. And she has, her voice is the first voice that has popped up so far with real character. With not just generic, but with some actual character that this singer stands out just through her voice. And the song also has, it's not extremely catchy, but at least while you listen to it, it is catchy enough that when you hear the replay, you're going to think, yeah, that was it. That was the one that I was, yeah. So I think Denmark, they have the chances to do pretty well this year. Or, in fact, very well. The presentation is kind of artsy. I hope they will keep it, they won't make it too artsy, although that did kind of work for Sweden last year. There are some hints of folk music, and I think if they keep the presentation at the artsiness level that it was on at their national final, and if she gives a good performance where she doesn't smile while singing a very sad song, I think Denmark have really good chances this year. Good for you, Denmark. Russia. They have a good singer, who is of course a pretty girl. I hope she stays as classy as she was in their national final, because I do think that counts for a lot with a lot of the audience. The lyrics are really cliched, but the melody is very pretty, the singer's good, and I think Russia is a contender too this year. I think that they have this sort of Balkan ballad thing going that a lot of the audience will like, and the singer's good, and she has class. That can take you a long way. It did for us in 2008, I think it was. I think we got a lot of points on just class. So yeah, keep that going, Russia. Ukraine, another pretty girl, and again, kind of classy entry, or presentation at least, which is good. She's not a very good singer. She does have a very pretty face, but not such a pretty voice. The backing vocals are weird. That distracted me a lot. And the song is in itself is kind of too weird, because it starts out as a ballad and then it sort of morphs into I don't know what. And it's melodious, but it's not really catchy, so I don't know, I can't see this going that far for Ukraine this year. I think the song is too weird. It's okay, but it is strange. The Netherlands. The Netherlands could totally bomb, which they sometimes do when they have really good songs, but I so hope they will do well this year, because they have a really strong entry, an unusual melody, and most of the melodies this year are kind of the same. A lot, same. But the Netherlands stand out with a song that really has personality. It has, the melody is challenging. It's kind of old-fashioned. It's something that you don't really hear that much in the contest these days is what I mean. The entry is very good, and I love her voice. Her voice has a lot of character. It's a wonderful entry. Good luck to the Netherlands. I hope they will go very far, but theoretically they may actually bomb. Sometimes I really cannot call it. Montenegro. Performing in Montenegrino, which gives them immediate points in my book. I'm not sure, though. This is not my style of music. Really not my style of music. I am very happy to see it represented, because I love seeing the different styles of music that come up in the contest, more and more different ones over the years. And this may have appealed to young members of the audience, possibly. I'm not sure, because I am not young any longer, alas. I'm not sure I can judge it, because this is totally not my style of music. So it's hard to say, and I don't really know how this will do. I hope they will change the performance from, I haven't seen what they did in the national final. I've only seen the video, which is really tacky. So I hope they do something fun on stage with it, and people will probably remember it. But whether that will be enough to get them to actually vote for it, I can't say. It's definitely one of the most original songs this year. So, kudos to them, at least for that. Lithuania, another of these really nondescript titles that don't mean anything. It's a melodious, the melody is good, it has a nice flow, but the singer is not very good. The outfits, at least in the national final, his outfits were really dumb, and it's a bad choice. It was distracting. I can't see Lithuania doing very well this year. I think it's a totally middling song. Has a nice melody, but nothing else to recommend it. Sorry, Lithuania. I don't see anything much happening for you this year. Belarus. I don't know. It sounds kind of familiar, doesn't it? The opening, at least, it sort of rings some bells with me. I can't quite put my finger on it. It's a catchy song. It's a very good melody. The singer isn't the best. She's pretty and she gives a good performance. It's a fun entry. Catchy, something you remember. I just wonder how they're going to do it on stage, because the performance that I've seen, they just had way too many people on stage. And it worked. What I saw worked, but they won't be able to do that in Malmö because too many people. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with their presentation. Moldova. This is actually... I was distracted a bit by the presentation, which I think is too weird, but the song itself I actually like a lot. Umia. Is it 1,000? Is it 1 million? I really don't know. I'm not sure what language they'll be singing in. I hope Moldovan. Her dress in the national final, she's very pretty. She has a pretty voice. Her dress was very weird, and I get what they're going for, but I really hope that they'll have replaced that dress. Because that can happen, that you have something gimmicky on stage and it takes so much attention to itself that you basically forget that you're supposed to be paying attention to the song. And I think this whole thing, oh my god, her dress is on fire, I think that is one of those things that will take away from the song, because the song itself is very strong. It starts out bland, but it picks up a lot. I like this entry a lot. It's kind of one of my favorites this year, and it gets slightly repetitive, but the melody is very strong, so I hope they won't ruin it by having the presentation be too gimmicky, because I think that will not be in their favor. And then Ireland. I'm happy to say that the Irish entry is not completely trashy this year. So yay Ireland! You can do it! Your entry is not complete garbage. In fact, it's pretty good, relatively speaking. It's Ireland in the Eurovision Song Contest, so over the years we have come to expect not really a lot, but this entry is actually, it's pretty good. The singer's cute, he has an okay voice, the song is pretty catchy. I'm very pleasantly surprised by Ireland this year. The entry is kind of bland, but it's perfectly acceptable. It's more than okay. So good for you, Ireland. You can actually still not make complete asses of yourself. I'm impressed. Cyprus. I hope they ditched the dress she was wearing in their national final, because that was an awful dress. Sorry, Cypriots. Hideous dress. She has a pretty good voice, so focus on that and put something much simpler on her. Seriously. The melody is beautiful. It has nice flow. It's kind of bland, again, but it's very pretty to listen to. It's gonna need a lot of heart in the performance, because, yeah, bland. Run-of-the-mill. But then so is pretty much every other song this year, so maybe that won't even be a problem, but I hope they'll change her dress. It'd be a shame to ruin a very pretty song with a very ugly dress. Belgium. This won't be Belgium's year. Not this either. The singer is kind of cute, but his voice is really bad. Kind of like us last year. The lyrics are dumb, but the chorus is catchy. It's an okay entry, but it is bland like all the others, and it is kind of repetitive. And he really cannot sing. So I have very low hopes for Belgium this year, because when there are no songs that stand out, we're going to have to start differentiating somehow, and then a good singer is going to be much better than a bad singer, like this Belgian guy. Sorry. Finally, Serbia. closing the first semi on Tuesday. Good choice. They have not just one pretty girl, they have 3 pretty girls. And they're all pretty good singers. Overall, it's a good entry. The song is, for this lineup, strong. There's nothing wrong with the song, except the presentation, which in their national final was pretty tacky. And that may ruin this song, especially since it may be distracting if they don't change it. And I think it's going to be hard to understand the relevance of the costumes and everything to the song for those of us who don't understand Serbian. I obviously looked it up, but the overwhelming majority of the audience, they're not going to be doing that. So I think the Serbians may be shooting themselves in the foot if they keep the performance, because we're not going to get how it's related to the lyrics, and then it's just going to look tacky. So I hope they'll change it, because the song is one of my favorites in the first semi. It's a good song, and their singers are fine. Just get them some nicer dresses and lose the horns, would be my advice. Anyway, that's my opinion of the, let's see, 16 songs, is it, in the first semi. None of them are very good, and none of them suck. So I really have a very hard time calling any of this. But I have to say, I think that in the final, we will definitely be seeing Denmark. That is probably the strongest tip I can give. Russia, I think as well, probably get through. I wouldn't be surprised if Montenegro gets through. Again, it's not my type of music at all, but it may appeal to the young. I hope Slovenia, and I think probably Ukraine will get through. I hope for the Netherlands. Fingers crossed for them. I would love to see them in the final. Belarus should definitely get through. Lithuania not. But yeah, Serbia, they'll get through. The strongest entry in this semi, I would have to say, is Denmark. But to be honest, none of them are very good at all. Very weak lineup, bland, bleh. So we have to hold out for the show. So you better put on a really, really good show for us. Whatever, I cannot wait to see it. Tuesday, 9 Scandinavian time at least, May 14th. Watch it.